Brock Purdy. He's still really in the infancy of his career, and we're just learning what he does well. And when he first got on the field, we're thinking, poised, mobile, accurate, but not very physically gifted, not a great athlete. Well, today he did something new that I hadn't seen, which is really encouraging to me. It's quite exciting, actually. Not just an off-platform throw, but the different arm angles. A lot of quarterbacks can only throw through one arm slot. But Brock Purdy, we saw him do it 4 or 5 times, drop his arm low to get the ball around an unblocked defender in his face. He had unblocked defenders in his face a lot today. And instead of running away from them, which he did sometimes, he threw the ball around them, which is very difficult to do. A lot of great quarterbacks can't do it. Stafford can do it. Mahomes can do it. Rodgers can do it. The best can do it. I didn't think Jimmy could do it. I'm not sure that Trey can do it. Purdy can do it. Now, he only completed one of these throws, but I think a couple were dropped, and I don't know if the receivers were expecting the throw, but this is something very interesting that I like about Brock Purdy. Not just that he can throw on the run, rolling left and rolling right, but the fact that he can change his arm slot. And that shows you the baseball background. I love quarterbacks who played baseball, and not just any position. Like, pitching doesn't necessarily translate to playing quarterback, because pitching, you don't ever have to move. You just do the same wind up every time, or the same motion every time. That's not playing quarterback. And playing infield, you got to throw on the run. You have to have a quick release. You got to get the ball out quick. It's much more like playing quarterback, and he did that. His dad was a minor league baseball player. He played middle infield. He played third base too in high school. You could tell. He has all that to his game. Russell Wilson was that way. Played baseball in Joe Montana was that way. I love a middle infielder who can play quarterback. Chances are he won't have the strongest arm. Chances are he won't be that big. But he'll probably be very natural moving around and throwing on the run. Another thing about Brock that we're learning. Man, he's so good in the red zone. Why? Because he's really daring, accurate, and he's able to throw the ball into the end zone, which isn't easy. The windows are so small. The openings are closed so quickly that a lot of quarterbacks don't even have the courage to throw the ball in the end zone. Remember the previous Niners starting quarterback? I won't say his name. You remember him. And it starts with a J. He would often throw the ball in the red zone in front of the end zone and ask his receivers to break tackles, knife their way in. It's hard to do. And I think that's why George Kittle had so few touchdowns in his career. He's almost 30 years old. Now all of a sudden he's scoring touchdowns in the end zone left and right. Well, he wasn't getting those targets the last 5 years because the quarterback didn't feel comfortable throwing those passes. And I get it. Those are tough passes. Quarterbacks that do feel comfortable throwing the ball in the end zone and can do it well without getting picked off, they're rare. So once again, you look at a guy with a low ceiling and who's not physically gifted. He does some very high ceiling level stuff. Just the way he can finish these drives with touchdowns is a big deal. Because it seems like with a lot of quarterbacks, the Niners can drive the field. With Jimmy, they can drive the field. But what happens when they get to the 9-yard line? With Jimmy, it was a field goal. With Brock, it's a touchdown 67% of the time, and that's huge, and that's a big reason why the Niners have the best offense in the league. It's not that Brock Purdy's carrying the offense. He's not. But he's elevated it because he's better than his predecessor in these particular ways. He avoids pressure the other one couldn't. He has different arm slots that the other one didn't. He's better in the red zone, and that's the key. That's why this Niners team is dominant right now, because they're finishing drives. And now they're going from a team that needed to win with defense that's winning with offense. And the defense, they can give up 77-yard touchdown catches and doesn't matter because they don't have to be great. They just have to be good, and they're better than good. They're very good. That's really encouraging about Brock Purdy. After the game, I thought it was interesting. Kyle Shanahan was really, really reticent to give him praise. He was like, yeah, he did some good stuff, had some plays he'd like back. I appreciate Kyle. I like Kyle. He's doing a great job this year. He's definitely maturing, but there is a part of Kyle who needs to be the star. And it's like, when asked why is someone doing well, what he really wants to say is because I'm the coach, and I called the plays, and I gave him good looks, and really he could have been better. And I get it. He's a perfectionist, and he doesn't want – I just feel like if that's Kyle's attitude, keep it real guy, don't just focus on all the praise. Correct a few bad plays, fine. But he needs to be that way with himself too, publicly. He should be the first guy to say, hey, you know what, I messed up XYZ in this game. That's my fault. But he's never that way. And I guess that's one of the things that I think that's the next stage of maturity for him, man. Stop looking for ways to knock a guy down a peg on your team publicly when you won't do that to yourself. And you hate being questioned by people like me. That's the only thing I would say about Kyle. The next stage of maturity. He's doing a great job of maturization. That's not a word.